Hi guys, welcome back. EryxUK here with the 6th instalment of my gaming update. It's actually been quite a quiet month, to be fair. We're now well into the lull between the Warhammer games. People are getting a lot of practice with 6th edition. I've only had about 6 or 7 games now, but I'm slowly coming round to the system. There's only a couple of things that I still dislike. The wound allocation is for the birds, and challenges should only be within named characters, but that's just my opinion. Otherwise, you know, now I feel the guys who are still grumbling about it don't like things to the point where, well, we'll have to see whether they actually play or not. And oddly, despite the fact that we've got the Fantasy League coming up in a couple of months, there's hardly any fantasy games going on at the moment. Everyone is playing 40k, which is quite odd, because I thought that they would raise the opportunity for a break or to try something different. Anyway, that's where that stands. I have decided, since there's still no word on the Tau Empire Codex, nothing concrete anyway, that I'm going to set myself a little project for the next 6 months, ready for beginning of next year. I'm going to do another Space Marine chapter. I've been thinking of doing one for a while. Basically, I had an image in my head of what I wanted, sort of thing. Difficult to describe, but I had a colour scheme, and I've built up a list ready for what we're going to play in the league, and I'm basically going to build it and paint that over the next 6 months. Give me something to do while I'm not playing fantasy. What else is going on? EryxUK's is still really strong. We've just had the release of the Chaos War and Dark Knight Rises set, and a shed load of other what they call fast forces, which are essentially starter packs, 6 figures you can just buy, and they give you some suggestions how to make those into workable 300-point teams. It's cost me a small fortune, to be honest, because unfortunately I wanted all of them. But it's good to see that that's still going. The only grumble I kind of have is that because everybody kind of went out and they bought bricks, basically 10 or however many boosters it was, everyone pretty much got all the commons, or they've got all the figures they want, so no one wants to trade anything, no one, you know. And of the really only one figure that I want left out of the Chaos War set, only a couple of guys have got, but no one's willing to trade, which is fair enough. But it's kind of a bit of a grumble, because if this was Magic or something else, there'd be cards or figures flying here, there and everywhere. But there you go. And unfortunately that one particular figure seems to be going for about £25 on eBay, and I just refuse to pay that sort of price for a piece of plastic. Thinking of Magic, while that's now long gone for me, my nephew is trying to get me into another card game he's found called Shadow Era, which seems to have been a web-based CCG type thing. There's about a dozen starters, which one you get for free. You pick your hero, and then you get coinage in game, and you can spend money for coinage. Allows you to buy random boosters and more stars. They've also got some weird, I think it's called a Kickstarter sort of thing, because they want to do it as a published physical copy CCG. And my nephew has basically, I think, put a fortune into that, because they've just delivered a package to him which gives him one of all, I think it's 9 or 12 starters. He's got a box of boosters, some sort of leather playmat. He's got a factory set of the entire set coming. It's like, how much did you put into this? I've been playing it online this afternoon, and yeah, it's alright. I think it's the sort of game that will work better online than it will on a physical environment. But yeah, I kind of liked it. It's a bit different. It's essentially a Magic Light. Actually, it's a cross between a mixture of Magic the Gathering and Duel Masters, because you use cards as resources. The biggest benefit for me is, one of the things I really disliked in Magic was the fact that you couldn't necessarily control the game on your turn, because you have instants and counter spells and stuff that take effect in your turn. Well, in this Shadow Era, you don't have anything like that. Your entire turn is yours. If your opponent wants to spell one of your creatures or do something, he's got to do it in his turn, which I quite like. But anyway, he's going to bring all this down to the club tomorrow, and we're going to have a game. few and see what happens. After, because we've got a EryxUK's tournament tomorrow as well. Roleplay wise, what's going on? Friday night game is going alright. We've got a small issue though. One of the players involved, if you've watched these before, you know we've got a little bit of a Twinkie player. And in order to try and give him a little bit of his own story and try and tone him down just a little, the DM has basically had him body swapped. So he wakes up one morning in a tavern in the body of a halfling, and the halfling in his body basically walks off with his gear, including a bag of holding, which is what he's mostly miffed at. And he wants to track down this individual, find his body, get it back somehow. And we're all up for that, except we've still got about a half dozen other plot lines, which seem interlinked, but we've also got to try and do those. Now thankfully it's leading us in the same direction, but the player in question almost had a hissy fit. Pardon me. Because it was one of those instances where the control of his character had been taken away from him. And I can see that, because it was a little harsh without giving him any sort of like pre-warning. Because he's got his mental stats the same, he's got his own skills, he's got his own feats, but he's a halfling, so these mighty stats that he had already rolled are now pointless, because they all based off of things that he's now no good at in this body. So I can kind of see that, and unfortunately the way the quest has gone, the player couldn't make it last night to the game, and the way it's gone unfortunately is that we might end up actually losing the track of his real self, because we had to make a decision on one of the plots that we're following. So yeah, that game's being a bit odd at the moment. I just have to hope that it's under control and the GM knows what they're doing, but we'll see. The Sunday night games, my friend's game, the one where we've got 3 characters each, is going alright. I lost one character at the end of our last session, about halfway through the session. I can't think what it was. Oh, that's right. A zombie minotaur basically took my elf ranger down. Unfortunately, it was one of those mighty blows that you're just going to get every so often, and already being slightly wounded, he was actually spudded in two by a great axe it was wielding. So I'll come up with a dwarf barbarian. I can't recall ever playing a barbarian in the D20 system, so I thought it would be quite good. And he follows the God of Oblivion, Grotus, which is making quite an interesting character. The elf I couldn't quite get my head into, unlike the other 2 characters I've got, and this guy is doing alright. We're back in that game tomorrow, but in that one we are carrying on with one of the other groups, so I get my sorceress again, who's the one character I really care for and what have you. But in that one we've been taken prisoner and being shipped off to a prison, but it's in fact to make it look like we've been arrested because some powerful people are trying to do some horrible things to the Queen or the city or some such, and so it's being made to look like we were out of the picture so we can come back and deal with it. So it should be interesting. In my game, they're doing quite well. I don't know if you followed the other vid, but they've almost finished the caves that they're doing. They've just got one area left to do. We haven't had a party death. Actually, we have had one character death. I tell a lie. But that was an unfortunate incident. It couldn't be helped really. But yeah, that game's going along. I'm doing that one without XP, so basically I decide as the DM when the group levels, and it seems to be working alright, but I don't know, what I value as, or rather what I see as the relevant point, I don't know whether it's too slow for them or slightly awkward. It's difficult to say, but everyone seems to be having fun with it, so I can't grumble. Other than that, oh, the Dark Heresy game. Yes, I forgot to actually mention that in the last video. Our Dark Heresy game is going good. The whole sandboxy style game that the GM had been running, we've fixed that particular plot, we've moved on, we've done another. It was a little bit of a sandboxy one, not bad. We're back on the space station, had to solve a mystery there. Unfortunately, we had to do by calling in our inquisitorial speak English, inquisitorial contacts. So basically it all went a bit pear-shaped, but we survived. And we're now off on another quest, which I'm beginning to think we seem to be stuck in a time loop. The ship is to the location we're going, the ship has emerged from the warp and then seems to be repeating itself every 12 hours, but with slight changes. People are disappearing no one seems to remember the people who were there before, and it's all like doing it heads in. But I've got a funny feeling that it's not actually true. I think what we did last time, we're being mind scanned and memory wiped and weird things like that, and this is kind of how it's being projected into our collective minds. But we'll see. It's actually quite an interesting game, but really confusing. Other than that, I may have the opportunity to carry on my Call of Cthulhu campaign. I've been running that for a couple of years for some friends, the group that's playing the Dark Heresy game, but I think for them it was they didn't get into it quite as well as I'd hoped, or half the group didn't. So, but I've got an opportunity to actually pick it up where that left off with one of the players from that game and introducing two more. So if he does, that's fantastic. I don't know when I'm going to fit it in though. I might have to knock something else on the head to do it, but that's where I am for the last month. Good gaming, and yeah, be interesting to see where it goes. With summer and people being having a bit more free time in the evening, we might do a bit more gaming. But there you go. Anyway, I'm waffling, and you don't need me to waffle. So I will see you when I see you. Take care and good game.